January 9, 2026, is a date the entertainment world will not forget anytime soon. In a matter of hours, two artists from completely different corners of pop culture were gone. Men whose work shaped childhoods, defined eras, and left permanent marks on television and film. T.K. Carter, the charismatic actor who brought warmth and humor to screens throughout the 80s and 90s, was found dead at his home in Duarte, California. He was 69 years old. And just hours later, devastating news broke that Guy Moon, the Emmy-nominated composer whose music became the soundtrack of Nickelodeon's golden age, had been killed in a tragic car crash in Los Angeles County. He was only 63. These weren't just celebrities. They were memory makers. One gave us laughter and humanity on screen. The other gave us music that still lives rent-free in our heads decades later. Today, we honor who they really were, what they gave us, and why their legacies matter more than ever. Who was T.K. Carter? T.K. Carter's story is one of raw talent and relentless determination. Born Thomas Kent Carter in 1956 in New York City, he was raised in Los Angeles, where his path into entertainment began earlier than most. Carter didn't have a traditional upbringing. He was kicked out of 2 high schools, something that could have derailed his future completely. But instead of giving up, he leaned into what he loved. By the age of 12, T.K. Carter was already performing stand-up comedy at legendary venues around Los Angeles, including the Comedy Store. While most kids were worrying about homework, Carter was learning timing, crowd control, and how to command a room. He also immersed himself in theater and acting, developing a natural charisma that couldn't be taught. People noticed. Casting directors noticed. His professional acting career began in 1976 with a role on NBC's Policewoman. From there, Carter became a familiar face on American television. He appeared on Good Times, The Waltons, and The Jeffersons, slowly building a reputation as a reliable scene-stealing performer. Then came 1982, the year that changed everything. T.K. Carter was cast as Knowles in John Carpenter's horror classic The Thing. The film is now considered one of the greatest horror movies ever made, and Carter's performance remains one of its most memorable elements. In a movie filled with paranoia and fear, he brought humor, humanity, and relatability. That role cemented his place in film history. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Carter worked consistently. He became a beloved part of Punky Brewster, playing Mike Fulton in the show's early seasons. He went on to appear in 227, Just Our Luck, Good Morning, Miss Bliss, Family Matters, The Sinbad Show, Moesha, The Steve Harvey Show, The Nanny, and many more. T.K. Carter wasn't just an actor. He was a professional. Someone producers could trust. Someone audiences loved. And that kind of career doesn't happen by accident. Who was Guy Moon? If T.K. Carter gave us unforgettable faces and performances, Guy Moon gave us something just as powerful: music that defined childhood itself. Guy Moon was born on February 7, 1962, in Wisconsin. From an early age, he knew exactly what he wanted to do: compose music for film and television. He studied music at the University of Arizona, where he honed the technical and creative skills that would later make him one of the most influential composers in children's television. In 1986, Moon took a massive leap of faith. He packed up his life and moved to California to pursue his dream. That decision changed everything. Over the next 4 decades, Guy Moon became a defining force behind Nickelodeon's golden age. His work shaped shows that millions of kids grew up watching every single day. His most iconic contribution came from The Fairly OddParents, where his music earned him 4 Emmy nominations between 2002 and 2004. For nominations aren't luck, they're mastery. Moon also won an Annie Award, one of the highest honors in animation. But his influence didn't stop there. He composed the instantly recognizable theme song for Danny Phantom, collaborated closely with creator Butch Hartman, and worked on Tough Puppy, Chalk Zone, The Power of Juju, Back at the Barnyard, Big Time Rush, and contributed additional music to SpongeBob SquarePants. Beyond Nickelodeon, Moon's range was incredible. He worked on Cow and Chicken, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Netflix's Johnny Test reboot, and even feature films like the Brady Bunch movie. Whether playful, emotional, or dark, Guy Moon could do it all. And that brings us to the hardest part of this story. How they died. On the evening of January 9, 2026, authorities responded to a call from TK Carter's home in Duarte, California. When they arrived, the actor was found dead. He was 69 years old. No foul play was reported, and no official cause of death has been released. Carter had largely stepped away from the spotlight in recent years after decades of consistent work in Hollywood. The news shocked fans who had grown up watching him for generations. Then, just hours later, tragedy struck again. On the morning of January 9th, Guy Moon was involved in a traffic collision in Los Angeles County. According to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner, he died from traumatic injuries sustained in the crash. He was 63 years old. The details of the collision have not been fully disclosed, but it was classified as accidental. Moon's family confirmed the heartbreaking news on January 10th with a statement that resonated deeply. "We are overcome with grief to announce the passing of our beloved patriarch, Guy Moon. He has left an unmistakable legacy and will be profoundly missed." This wasn't just a composer. This was a father, a husband, a mentor. How family, friends, and fans responded. TK Carter's biological son, Thomas Scott, later adopted by NBA legend Byron Scott, paid tribute to his father by calling him a true pioneer ahead of his time. That word matters. Pioneer. Carter helped open doors, built a lasting career, and proved that perseverance matters more than perfect beginnings. For Guy Moon, tributes poured in from across the industry. Butch Hartman described Moon not just as a collaborator, but as family. Actors, musicians, and fans shared stories of how his music shaped their childhoods. One truth became clear. Guy Moon's name may not have been famous, but his work was unforgettable. Moon's family announced plans to celebrate his life on his birthday, February 7th, both in Los Angeles and in his hometown of Wisconsin, honoring both where he came from and where he built his legacy. Why these losses hit so hard? These deaths hurt because TK Carter and Guy Moon were architects of memory. Carter's face is tied to shows and films that transport us back in time. Moon's music triggers instant nostalgia, the kind that takes you back to sitting on the couch after school, carefree and happy. Their passing also reminds us how fragile life really is. One died quietly at home. The other was taken suddenly in a crash. No warning. No goodbye. And perhaps most importantly, both men represent the unsung heroes of entertainment, the people who make the industry work without always getting the spotlight. Final thoughts. TK Carter and Guy Moon both died on January 9, 2026. But what they left behind will live on far longer. Carter's 5-decade career proved that talent, perseverance, and professionalism still matter. Moon's music will continue to play in homes, classrooms, and memories for generations. Legacy isn't about fame. It's about impact. Rest in peace, TK Carter. Rest in peace, Guy Moon. Thank you for the laughter, the music, and the memories.